Afternoon.
Start off, just day off for certain players, injury updates at all?
Yeah, we had most guys skate. We had a couple different ice sessions. We had an early one and a second one. So, just because you didn't see a guy in the main practice didn't mean he didn't skate today. Injury updates, I would call Rupe day to day. Hawk the same. Rupe did skate this morning. Hawk didn't. Everyone else skated at some point today.
And then rest versus rust, and we talk about it all the time, but
Yeah.
you have an opportunity to have rest, but then how do you use it?
Yeah, I'm not worried about rust on, I think it's going to end up being, 6 days maybe. Honestly, with the two series we just went through, I think, we could use the time. And I think it's actually probably a perfect amount of time that we can recharge and get some guys healthy and get reset for the next round. I think that was rolling that first round into the second round with the two opponents we had was a really tough month of hockey.
You were coming off 7-gamer last year in the conference final.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that hurt you?
Yeah.
And is this a better situation?
Yeah, I think it did. I think it's really difficult, and if you are gonna have to go 7 games, I think you want to have to do it earlier in the playoffs than later on the road, as the road as you go down the playoff trail and road. So, I think if you look at the Stanley Cup winners over the years. There is a common denominator there in a lot of those that, a lot of them have finished series off, before the 7-game mark at different points, and I think that's important.
How I assume you're going to watch the game tonight.
Yeah.
How will you watch it? Will you sit there with a notepad, noting times so you can click?
Yeah.
How will you watch the game? Will you be with your assistants on your own?
Yeah, no, we're gonna do it on our own. I will take some notes if there's some things there. I don't expect, though, a lot of surprises. I mean, we know both those teams. We've been watching, this is an ongoing process. It's not like we're just starting to look at these guys now. This has been going on for a while. So, even when you're coaching in the series you're in, you always got one eye on potentially the next opponent. So we'll have a good book on them, but, I'm glad we're watching instead of playing a game 7 for this round.
Jason Robertson, we've asked you about his defensive game so far in the
Yeah.
playoffs, and the numbers are pretty staggering with shot blocking at least.
Yeah.
Is that something that you asked of him or asked of your forwards, or is he just kind of out there doing it?
We've asked the whole group to do a little bit more with that, but he's really underrated defensively, and he takes a lot of pride in it. And I think I mentioned to somebody this morning, he's underrated for me physically too. He's given out more big hits than he's taken. He's physically engaged in the games. Defensively, I think he's been really good. I like that he creates offense without it being at the expense of our team defense, and that's what you need with your offensive players if you're going to win this time of year.
Can you take us through the development of Thomas last year? I don't know how much you had in it, or if it was, the fact to send him down for the entire season.
Yeah.
It really seemed to have completely changed who he is as a player.
Yeah. Listen, Thomas Harley is a world-class talent. That's why he got drafted where he did. I think the right decisions were made. I believe Thomas Harley would have got to where he's at some point anyway, but I think he got to where he's at as early as he did and is making as big an impression as he is. I think in part because of the decisions that were made with him. We didn't push him in when he wasn't ready. He was sent back with a plan to work on the weaknesses of his game, not the strengths. And he was smart enough to do all those things, handle it the right way, and come in and make an impact.
Where's he at now? I think he's just still 22, right?
Yeah.
He's playing 24 minutes a night or whatever.
Yeah.
Against
I mean,
Vegas and Colorado.
yeah. Yeah, he's elite. I mean, you know, there's been a lot of nights, you know, he's been one of the, you know, 2 or 3 best players on the ice on both teams, a lot of nights. So, you know, I was just talking to somebody the other day, you know, I think this guy, you know, should be on the radar of the Olympic team and you know, the next, I guess the world, what are they calling it, the World Cup or World, the 4 Nations, you know. I just found out he's actually Canadian. I don't know if you knew that. Huh? Did you know that?
He's mixed.
Yeah,
He was born in the U.S., but his parents are Canadian, so he
yeah,
chose to play.
but he's on the Canadian team. I'm making sure of that.
Hey, Pete, can you share anything about your coaching process on deciding to play Alexander Petrovic? And
Yeah.
I can't get over how good he was in game
Yeah.
six.
Yeah, you know what? I think you know, I think we were at the point in the series where we were looking for, and we've done this with some of our forwards too, looking for some fresh legs, a little bit of pop. You know, Delandre came in the first round, gave us some really good pop. Faxa came in Game 7, gave us some pop, then went back out again. You know, I think we felt like it was time to do that with our defense, and he was the obvious guy. He's been captain of the American League for a long time. He's an NHL veteran with 250 plus games, plus NHL playoff games. He's not a guy that's going to be overwhelmed by the moment. And he's, you know, 6'5", 210 pounds, and I, you know, that's important this time of year. It's important. You know, we can talk all we want about skill and all those kind of things, but you know, especially the depth of your lineup playing against the depth of the other team's lineup, you know, there's a lot of meat there.
It felt like that it was not insignificant that he probably saved 5 minutes or so for each Euro and Tanev, and as you go into double overtime, that
Yeah.
probably made a big impact.
Made a big impact in double overtime, but it also, you know, made a big impact if we would have had to go to a Game 7, you know, which was a real possibility at different points there. So, you know, I think that there's definite value in that.
Have you seen Logan develop in these playoffs? And it's a guy that looks like he plays bigger than he is.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been super impressive. I mean, I can't tell you, you know, the young guys, the contribution they made, the Harleys, the Johnsons and the Stankovens. You know, it's rare to have one young guy play a big role this time of year. To have 3, not just play big roles, but play, you know, front and center roles at this time of year is almost unheard of. So, you know, he's been exceptional. You know, he's tenacious. He's fearless. He wants to be out there, and you know, unlike Robo, he's probably taken a few bigger hits than he's given, and you know, hasn't missed a beat, popped right up and just kept going. So, you know, teams have tried to physically push him out of the game, and he's having nothing to do with that. So, he's been real impressive for a young guy.
Now that you're here in the conference final, how crazy is it to look back and think about beating the 2 most recent Cup champs in the first 2 rounds? And you're kind of only halfway there, but how much momentum do you think that can generate?
Yeah. Well, you know, I think it can generate huge momentum. I do, you know, I wouldn't have chosen that path if I had the choice, and you know, it was actually for the season we had, it's probably you know, not much of a reward, but you know, I'm hopeful we're going to look back and go, you know what, that was the best thing that happened to us, you know, and you know, I've told our group before, sometimes the toughest series are early in the playoffs. You never know. You know, we might have the toughest series on the path ahead. It might be the next one or the final, but you know, sometimes on these trails, you know, you hit your toughest series at an earlier point in the playoffs. It's just how it happens.
How much does that help the confidence of the younger players?
Yeah.
It seems like they did have to test themselves and
Yeah.
the top level talent, and you guys
Yeah.
emerged.
Well, listen, confidence of our whole group, particularly our young players. But I mean, we were, you know, in that Vegas series, you're down 2-0 and on the road, and you know, was Game 3 in overtime? Yeah, Yeah, I mean, you're an overtime goal away from going down 3-0, so, you know, just great resilience by our group. You know, I think we definitely obviously want to start the next series out in front. I think that's the goal. You know, we don't want to be digging ourselves a hole in game 1, you know, which has been a little bit of our story here over the time I've been here, so that's got to be our focus. Okay, thank you.